Hey guys, welcome back. This is part three of this, little mini storyboard series. Today we're gonna be talking about the rough drawing phase of storyboarding. And again, caveat: this is an optional phase, but I feel like this is a very good uh, step to learn and to understand. So that way, in case you do want to refine your drawings a little more in the storyboarding sequence that you're working on, then more power to you. And I'm just going to show you how I go about my process. Let's just go through what I had so far. So here, this is stuff that I did off camera. Here, what's interesting here about doing the rough drawings that what I do here is that I separate the characters by color. So here, obviously, like the bad guy's red, and then Batman's more like a dark navy blue. So here's punching, and this is as far as I got. And so like I made some adjustments to like the sizing. I looked back at the reference and I realized that certain parts of it were still like we're kind of off scale. Like some of it was the scale wasn't correct. In the beginning, the characters were a little too big. They're actually a little too small. And so I went ahead and I adjusted the scale and everything. And here I'm just refining more of the drawings. And so now what I'm gonna do is like the same thing. I'm just gonna go back and forth between the reference that I have on my second screen and the drawings here. So let me just go ahead and find it specific. So this is right after he kind of breaks his arm, basically. He's like that. And then I got the one punch. He swings back. And then he's gonna punch him again. So this is the part where I'm at, where he's kind of swinging. I guess I didn't really capture that pose here. You see all the layers that I have on. That's just how it's gonna be. That's just being alive. Here, I'm actually gonna try to redraw it again. So actually this works. And so again, like just to emphasize, I'm using layer comps, and layer comps are basically like you're taking kind of snapshots of the layers here. And of course, in Storyboard Pro, you have something called the timeline that I'm excited to show you guys how that works later on. But as of right now, I'm just using Photoshop. Okay. It's a good thing to sketch, but it's also a better thing to actually observe. So here I'm observing the clip as well. He punches, and then I noticed that there is a swooping action here where after he punches the guy, he swoops him over to screen left. So that's something I'm going to do. So here, and then he just kind of... And I'm still being rough, but at this point, like I'm being more mindful of the designs. And also, as you saw, I had my designs up there too as well. And then here, because there's this like swooping motion here, I'm gonna indicate that. Just to kind of, and something like for you guys that aren't familiar with like animation terms, it's called like a smear. A smear is basically like this illusion of movement, whereby kind of stretching out the components of either character or an object, it makes it appear as if the character is moving really fast. When in reality, you're just stretching out the certain parts of the character or object. So here's just kind of... And it's good to stay rough because there might be mistakes that could happen in the drawing process, and so it's good to go in and just be rough with it, because otherwise mistakes could happen, and so it's good to just not commit too much. Otherwise like you're just wasting your time trying to clean something up when the foundation of it isn't there. Here we go. So let's see. And then what's great about digital drawing here is that I can like, oh, oops. I'm holding command, and as you can see, when I hold command on a specific square here, it'll skew that specific point. And so sometimes I do that to indicate subtle movements here. And here is swooping. Actually, I'd have to do the opposite. The opposite way. So here, command, and then let's see what this can do. Okay, that's pretty good. So here now he's bringing the guy's right arm. Now let's see, what did I have? Oh, it seems like I have the same. So I'm trying to do another anticipation pose here. I think I could just do the punch here. Oh, I guess because the camera moves. What I'll do is I'll just duplicate it. I'll duplicate the layer, and then I might have to change the pose a little bit, but okay. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get rid of this part. Yep. Yeah. This is still a smear frame here. What I'm gonna do is adjust them a little bit here. Just do that. And this is where his arm is here. And then now that guy's arm. See? It's hard to tell exactly like how they're actually positioned like that because they're moving, and sometimes when I pause the clip, it's already like it's already blurred. But I'm just going in, and honestly, I feel like that kind of has its advantage because you're only going based off of like the main shapes. You're not actually going in and trying to focus so much on the details, but you're focusing on the bigger picture. Also, like the clip is also like really dark as well, because I mean, of course, the scene takes place at nighttime, but also like it's kind of hard to tell exactly, because the main thing I'm trying to make sure that everything still kind of plays out logically in continuity. And I'll go back and then in the cleanup phase, which will be in the next video, like this will definitely be a lot more refined and it'll make a lot more sense. Sweet. And of course, when you actually see it, you see the frame by itself, it's gonna look weird. but when you see it played out in motion, that's where the magic is. And that's one of the things a lot of these animators do. Let's see what it goes. See that? You know what I'll do here? I'm probably gonna cheat it a little bit. I'm just gonna rotate him down a little bit more, just to give that anticipation that he's about to be moved over like that. And I'll go back to the clip too. So here, see Batman is like that. And then actually, instead of having him already turn around, I will go in and this. He's really pressing on his thing to indicate like all the energy that he's putting towards all his movements. Oh, okay, there we go. That's better. There we go. Just out there you go. The skill looks a little better. There we go. Yeah. And this is the beauty of it. Like this, I'm showing you guys exactly how I'm doing it because there are moments that aren't very glamorous, but it's all part of the problem solving process. Like how am I able to solve the issue of trying to make sure that his movements really do look powerful and each movement does look like, and each punch does look like it's inflicting a sense of pain. Part of it's like being true to life and then heightening it, if that makes sense. Because if you're trying to be super technical, the drawings are going to be stiff. But if you're trying to find a way to capture the essence of the movements of the characters, that's where you're really gonna make the storyboarding and the animation part of it like really good. So here, just gonna punch him. This is the first punch, and then the first drawing I did, right, wasn't the best, but it was there just to capture the main pose. It's just the idea. So now here I'm going in and refining and fixing. This is the part where you gotta be really like honest with yourself in terms of like what things are gonna be fixed, because this is where you can make your content better. And this is the importance of feedback. Because if you're going to be very defensive about the kind of feedback you're getting, you're not going to get any better. And a lot of it's not. And the thing is, it's not personal. The whole idea is there to make you better. So for me, I got to be like okay with taking things out or adjusting things, even though I like how it is the first time. Usually the first time you do something, the first go ahead or the first draft, it's not going to be great. It's not going to be as good as you as it could be. So like if you do like your first draft, or if you take your first shot and like if you're playing basketball or soccer or whatever, the first shot's not really going to be the best. Your first attempt at something is not going to be the best. But by doing it over and over and over again, and fixing your mistakes and being able to understand what kind of mistakes you're making, that's going to help you a lot. And this is something that's helped me in my journey, is that I'll do it. The first time I did storyboards, I thought that they were like the greatest thing I'd ever done, because again, like of course I'd never done it before, but as I kept pushing and myself to get better and better, the next project that I would do would overshadow the first project I did. And so that's the key, is that you just got to do a bunch of these in order to really exercise those muscles and start to pick up on things more and more. You know, like if say you have a trouble trying to animate, or not even animate, but trying to get a character to move a certain way in your storyboards, you have to let that storyboard project be the the main point of doing your storyboards is that. And then the next time you do a storyboard project, you're going to have a better idea of how to tackle that specific process. So I'm going back to the reference and then so here I made a mistake. And again, that's just what I was talking about. Delete that. So the first part is this. And as you can see, like my roughs are very different from what I had in my thumbnails. That is the point. Boarding is reboarding. As one of my, a professor who really like, was very influential in me pursuing storyboarding and like really taking it seriously and understanding all the intricacies of it. His name's Mike Dietz. He had a mantra, and of course that mantra lives within like all other board artists. Is, to like boarding is reboarding, writing is rewriting, all that kind of stuff. You can't just expect the first go at it to be the best. So, and that's something that's really true, because the whole idea is you're trying to just figure everything out. You're trying to problem solve. Sometimes it may be easier, sometimes it may be more difficult. It depends on the story you're trying to tackle and the difficulty of that story, that narrative that you're trying to make. And so like here, like basically what I'm doing is like it's a film study of this, it's a film study just to get an idea of like how action works, the kind of the cinematography and stuff like that. Actually, you know what? This actually, this looks like an antic. So I think I'll just keep this. So it's actually. So I think here he punches in 3 times. Let's see. 1, 2. There we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting there. So, okay, cool. So see, he might look. He looks a little small. Yeah, he looks a little small. Here, something to know is that like in the beginning, and this is more of like a storytelling thing and less of a technical thing to notice. Yeah, this thing's lacking. I just like save it quick. Oh, I just gonna go back. So you can see in the beginning of this, sequence, this guy is overtaking most of the frame. He's the leader. He's the one in charge of all these other guys here. He's taking up most of the frame. And then as you can see here, he's still taking up most of the frame, indicating his dominance and his confidence, or false sense of confidence. And people think he's the alpha right now. But then as you get to realize that Batman is the one who's really the alpha here, he starts to get bigger in the frame. So here, as you can see, now he's the one being overshadowed. Now he's the one being overshadowed by Batman, and now Batman's the one overtaking him in terms of space, in terms of power, aggression, everything. And that's the beauty of filmmaking. And as you'll see later on, once this part finishes, the camera leans up more into an upshot. to indicate Batman's dominance over this character, or over this thug. And that's something that makes storyboarding difficult, but also very exciting at the same time. Is you're tackling all the technical stuff, making sure the movements work, making sure that the characters are a model, and all these very technical things. But then you also think of the subjective stuff, which is like how do you place the indicating where to place the camera to indicate the tone or the mood or um, the feelings that these characters have in the specific moment. And so that's something I'm definitely going to talk about later on, because that stuff is something I'm still learning and getting a hang of. And that's something that makes storyboarding very special, because it's not just tackling one specific thing, it's tackling all the things: lighting, cinematography, camera placement, directing, editing, acting, designing. All these things make up storyboarding. And so I mention that because this is something that you got to consider when you're jumping into this, is that it's going to be frustrating the first couple of times you do it, but once you get a feel for it, it becomes exhilarating. Like, no joke. Like, this stuff I live for. And then once you start getting better, you start feeling more motivated, more excited, and that's where I hope that you guys will end up, is in a place where you guys feel comfortable doing this kind of stuff without ever feeling scared or discouraged. So yeah, enough of that. Let's just keep going. So let's see. So here Batman punches in. And here it's hard to tell because now we're so in front, but I'm just gonna try to. Here what I'm doing is I'm manipulating or trying to come up with a different pose than what's already in the reference. And this is something that I learned from an online course that I signed up for through schoolism.com, which is really great. And it's gesture drawing with Alex Wu, and it's pre-recorded stuff already, but it's really dope because he'll break down like gesture drawing into very digestible sections, and he isolates certain things so that way you don't feel overwhelmed. And so I was watching those videos, and he brought up this whole idea of like you can manipulate or edit certain things that you see. You don't actually have to draw exactly what's there, because if you're trying to get the silhouette of the character, that's more important, because if you try to draw a character in a good silhouette, even if it's completely silhouetted, you get exactly what the character's doing. And so here, this part's pretty tough, but I think what I have to do is, and also like there's components of like exaggerating and doing things like that. See that there's like punches in. Oh, so here I'm just gonna add a different layer. Huh? I think what I'm gonna do here is, even though his arm in the clip is not actually moving back, I'm just gonna draw the hand, the fist, and then I'm just gonna try to. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Even though this wasn't in the clip, I want to make sure that it's clear what he's doing. So, and then here it looks pretty weak. I'm gonna try to. So here. I think he has to. He has to still be kind of going diagonally towards the right. Oh. And also too is like don't be afraid to like make sound effects and stuff and just try to see if your sound effects fit in with the drawing because that's definitely gonna help. I think it's because I'm not having them actually move. So I gotta look at the clip again. Yeah, there you go. So the camera kind of moves a little bit. Yeah. So as soon as he lands this punch, the camera's gonna. Here, what I can do is I can move the background a little bit. So here, I have to indicate it like that and duplicate it. I'm just gonna move it slightly down. That. Let's see. Also, to the posing of these guys in the off. And on my deal is skew them a little bit. Maybe this arm's gonna come out a little bit. Let's see. Let's see if that works. Oh, you know I had it? I liked how I actually had it in the thumbnails. Because even if that's not accurate to what it is in the clip, it doesn't matter. The intention is there. His intent is to beat the shit out of this guy. And so, like that's what I'm gonna show. Even if he's not actually, even if it doesn't show his arm bending all the way back, and even if even if it's not anatomically correct, this is there to be clear what he's doing. He's unleashing vicious punches and to indicate the momentum and the swing back and everything. So I don't know what this is. Okay, cool. I think what I need to do. Okay. This one I definitely gonna fix. Okay, cancel. Oops. Because then I thought the my video reference was it's still there. Alright, cool. So now let me just. So what I'm noticing now is that something I didn't notice in the thumbs is that now the character is really being pushed back. So now he's still being grabbed onto. Roasting, like he's starting to cower. So something to know is that the line of action is a really important thing. Basically, it's this. So this is the line of action. Before, this guy was facing this way, meaning that he was the one trying to establish his dominance. Try to step forward. But now, as Batman's, beating his ass, Batman's the one now establishing this dominance. He's the one pushing back. And so had I done this where all the characters were just like this, it wouldn't work. It was hard to tell who was winning the battle or who was winning the scene. And so that's an important thing, is diagonals and line of action. So here, what I'm noticing is that Batman's really pulling back a little bit. So here is actually his forearm is covering most of this. He's really going up there. And of course, I still gotta keep track of the body, but I can figure that shit out. Let's see. I actually wait. Batman should be bigger. Should actually be standing. Yeah, there you go. And then I'm just gonna move this guy down. Actually, this is too high. There you go. And then positioning Batman's face just to like show that he's really pulling back. And he's really just gonna punch this guy really hard. So here may not really look, and I'll probably adjust this a little more, but this is there to really show like the power that Batman has when it comes to pulling back his punches. Oh, there we go. See, one, and then two. So here the camera's really. So then this second punch here I kind of made it a little too stiff here. Here, like this is basically what I just said. Like here I made a mistake of doing this, but now looking back at the reference, I'm seeing that there's way more prominent lines of action. So here the guy gets punched and he's just. And here I'm just gonna smear that. This guy got clocked. And so that's indicated through like his direction here. So here he just got knocked back into next week. I don't even know that's the term, but boom. And it's like really blurry, so I'm gonna go. I raised the brightness on the monitor. So I'm just going back. So then. Let's go back to yep. So here I'm actually gonna, because now I'm noticing a lot of things because I actually had it. The brightness is actually lower than I thought. So I'm gonna go back in and definitely go back and adjust some things. And this is the beauty of just working quickly because you're still being clear on what what the posing is and everything. But here, like now, I'm gonna lower his neck a little bit. So here's just and. Fix this guy's arm. Actually, I'm gonna fix this whole face right here because that's not good. So he's that. Of course, in real life, these this guy's not actually getting his ass kicked up. So there's certain moments where you can see that he's not really being punched. And of course, this is more noticeable when you're pausing through it, right? But um, when you're seeing it play out in action, like that stuff sells. It's the illusion. It's all janky, but whatever. I mean, I'll definitely clean this up. I'm excited for the cleanup phase. There we go. I think that looks better. Like one. Oh, okay. Actually, this is like a better pose. There's a better pose that I'm seeing now. So here, I'm just gonna redraw this one. See, like I'm glad I'm showing this because this is how it is. Like I'm not nailing everything the first time. Like I'm going back, double checking everything, seeing if things work, and if they don't, that's fine. I can go back and easily tweak everything. Okay, that's better. So like I'm focusing on the guy, and then I'm going back to focus on Batman, and then that's how you should do it. You should go back. That way you're not overloading yourself. With like, oh, I gotta be focusing on everything. Because then once you do that, then you can focus on the big picture again and be like, oh, okay, is this matching up with what I have? And again, I'm not focusing on the details right now. I'm just focusing on the posing and the line of action. Ah, there we go. Yep. Let me go back a little bit. And here, who knows? I could add like little in betweens here of like, yeah, maybe just like tweak something just to add more subtle movements here. And that's something I like. Of course, in the end, like there might be little things I could, little animation I could add to it and stuff like that. But just to show you guys, like this isn't that's not like necessarily an important step. This is more like afterwards. So like here, I could probably and here what I'm doing is like I'm just skewing bits of the drawing. Like here this is the beauty of Photoshop is that like you don't actually have to go back and redraw everything, because if you try to redraw everything, it'll look very jumpy and very choppy. Kind of like I just imagine like Ed and Eddie animation, where like every single frame is different line drawing and stuff like that. So I'm only tweaking certain aspects of the drawing. That looks horrible, but I think there you go. Yeah. You gotta move this back. So here, again, it'll definitely be more refined. Yes, see. But if you play it, and just to give you guys a hint of like little things you could do to like really enhance the movement. So like if you add like a motion blur and have it face the direction, like that kind of stuff. of course I can record motion breaks in the past. So like even here too, I could just to like here maybe. Motion blur. Oh, actually. Here I could probably add motion blur to motion blur, but then I'll rotate. Oh snap! That looks dope. Oh. Sorry, I couldn't do that. Whoa. And it's little things like that. Of course, I could do this in the cleanup phase, but I'll show you guys how to do it now. Wow, I was not expecting it to look that good. Not to toot my own horn. This is the thing I'm telling you guys about. I hope you guys feel this sense of excitement once you guys make these discoveries. It's not to show off or anything. It's just there to like just be happy with the fact that you're like slowly able to figure these things out. And again, I'm not perfect. Like this isn't one way of boarding by any means, but yeah, it's good to just see different people, because this what I'm doing now, like the way I'm drawing and just the way I approach boarding was just a culmination of a bunch of people that I've studied over the years. And so just by seeing that, I just take those little tidbits of advice that they give, and I just run with it. And so I'm like, why not apply those to my own life, you know? And then why not, why not have the opportunity to then go in and like, share this information with you guys and other people, you know? So every now and then I can afford myself the opportunity to lose my shit, as you would say. Yes. So here, actually no. Yeah. And again, like you could be asking, like, how are you able to like understand and like know where to adjust these things? It's just little things like that. So like, again, like physics, you ease in and ease out, right? So like here. Yeah, so like here, like if you're like, say if you try to throw a punch, you're gonna like overshoot, so like you're gonna extend a lot and then push back a little bit. So that's kind of like what I'm doing here. So he's not just stopping, right? So like there's gonna be a moment where he has to like adjust himself and then move back. So here, of course, I'm gonna go in and adjust, but like here. So like here, like he'll punch, overshoot, right? And then he'll drop back. Right, so like here I can actually go in, but also too, like don't overuse this kind of stuff. And like Louis Del Carmen is a great artist to look at. Like he'll do like little bits of animation and stuff, but he'll use it very sparingly, and he'll use it where it matters most. Not just to say, oh look at me, I'm an animator, ooh, but like just there to be like these are tools to use to enhance your storytelling, not to show off. You know, so like the whole point of this demo is to tell the story of and to try to like interpret this moment where Batman is unleashing his vengeance on this guy. So it's little things like that they just add a lot. But like for example, like this is something I'm doing towards the end. I didn't focus on this kind of on little animation things like that in the beginning. I was focusing mainly on the main points, the main key poses. And then this stuff is just there just to accentuate that. And it's good to always, like for me, like this, I like working in this kind of style where I just work on specific sections, so that way it's easier for me to handle the load and not overwhelm myself with, oh, then I have to focus on cleanup and all this stuff. It's just, okay, thumbnails, that's it. Roughs, that's it. Okay, I'm done with that. Cleanup, I'm just focusing on cleanup. And it just helps. Because before I lose my patience and go straight into cleanup after I do a couple roughs. I'm like, oh, I want to see how this looks like cleaned up. Because then, of course, you want this to look nice. But I'm learning how to restrain myself and just focus on this phase before I get to clean up. Otherwise, I'm just like setting myself up for failure. Because if I clean something up and I don't like it in the end, it's just not going to work. So just handle this stuff now and then, then clean up later. You'll save yourself a lot of time and misery. All right. So actually, here when he punches, I can do an overshoot here. Maybe here. And also, I'm not just skewing everything. Maybe like, for example, the guy moves a little too far back, right? But then Batman's arm really extends, because then that's the thing that's providing the most movement in this situation. So let's see. Oh, oops. Let's see here. So here, like, you can see, like, there's that subtle movement. And if I play a little faster, maybe that doesn't work. Who knows? I think it works better for this when he's adjusting, and then when he punches, then that's just a really quick action. So one thing I'm noticing, and I feel like I can accentuate this a little bit more here, but like Batman, when he punches, he kind of swerves a little bit, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that. So like his head kind of swerves as he punches. Like his head will be like this. So here he's punching, right? So here and here, I'm definitely accentuating the movement here. So here, just I'll make it simple. Here. And then lasso tool is a very helpful tool to use just to get certain components to transform. And so I'm noticing as he punches, he'll then okay. Yeah, please go. Ooh, okay. I'm getting close to the last punch. So he'll punch. Okay. And this is another thing too in animation arcs. So like having the movements kind of flow within an arc, that's also a very good way of like indicating like having the movements feel more organic and true to life. So he's punching. And what I'll do is this is probably so here is like really his neck is bending so far back this way, like that. So his shoulders up here. So like that. And then what I will do, I'll go back to my reference. So you'll punch. Okay, so I think this could work. Oh, okay, so here, yeah, I definitely got it. Okay, so here I can actually, because you notice like this would move but not this, so it looked pretty weird. So what I'm gonna do is here he's gonna actually close it back. So just gonna pulls it back ever so slightly. And then his arm, his elbow, it's kind of like that. Of course, I gotta erase this because if the cape doesn't move, it's gonna be weird. So, we're cooking. We are cooking, baby. Sorry, friends. That's my awkward. That's my awkward set. Now we're cooking. Who knows? This might look like shit, but oh, so here. Oh, there we go. So, and then to make the movement faster. So the space in between these two drawings isn't a lot, but then in the next one, I want to make sure that he's already kind of in this position. So here, he's kind of already pulling back. So here he's already like hitting the edge of the frame. And then here I can just copy, or just copy what the clips already showing. So here he's already dominant. Like he has succeeded in taking up the frame and establishing his dominance. And again, I'm drawing very loose because it looks cooler that way. It has this energy, and it also helps with like, you know, drawing quickly and just getting the ideas down. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to capture the ideas, not so much make pretty drawings, but capturing the ideas. And there's definitely artists that, you know, like to be very clean, but they've established a way of being able to like have it not, you know, take up too much time for them, so they can do that. They can afford that luxury. The biggest thing you don't want to do is just focus too much on the clean drawings, because to be quite honest, when I was, you know, barely starting off in the industry, I was mainly focused on the drawing, not so much the storytelling, and it definitely affected me. Because I wasn't learning how to be a storyteller, I was just learning how to, like, you know, clean up. And my job, of course, was to revise, but I wanted to get better, you know, at storytelling. So this one thing that I'm trying to make up for now is also understanding like the storytelling part of it too. So it's like, because then you have to ask yourself, like, why is the director filming the way they're filming? You know, like, why are they choosing to film this person a certain way instead of another way? Like, these are all things that are definitely things to think about. So here again, it's not necessarily accurate to what's in the reference, but it's there just to indicate the movement. And then I can actually shrink his head a little more and just indicate like we're shortening. There we go. There we go. And then beauties I can just put through. Let's see. Let's see this go back. Aha! Oh, oops, no match. Oh, here I might just move a little more this way, and then I'll just indicate a little arrow, trying to show the arc. Oh, oops, go back again. Let's see. I could probably, what I could do, I'm just gonna move the drawing a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is just I'll just add a blur to those lines. Filter, blur, motion blur, and then also too, if you just want to add that same blur, it's here. I don't know why I did that. We are almost at the hour mark. And I'll just state this just because it's something that I think is important. I'm going to take a little break. It's important to take breaks when you can. And not work for just hours at a time because you'll definitely get burnt out. And I should have taken a break at the 25-minute mark, but I kind of got into the zone. But I have to be like, you have to restrain myself and not get too crazy with working so long. Because I'm actually almost done. And I like, again, like with these videos, I want to make sure I don't just skip over stuff, because a lot of times the most important stuff that you can learn from is from the stuff that you don't see, which is like making the mistakes and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. So I'll just keep going for a couple minutes and then I'll come back. So here, I think what I'm gonna do, because he overshoots. See what I think I'll have to change the drawing a little bit actually. Just here, I'll make it seem like he's really anticipating. Now here, what I'm doing is like, again, something that you'll learn later on is like tilts. So like if your body's tilting one way, if one part of your body's tilting one way, then the other part of your body's gonna be tilting the other way. So like if your upper body's tilting this way, it's gonna be tilting the other way. That's a good thing to know even when you're designing. This isn't just specifically storyboard stuff, but it's stuff that like has definitely become very valuable for me to know. Let's see. There we go. See this fits more with the arts. Let's see. And then here, I'm gonna indicate. This is actually, I'm gonna add more drawings here. This stuff I didn't add to the thumbnail, but this is something I'm definitely gonna add to the here refs. So here the guy's actually being pulled back a lot more now. Because in the thumbnails I just drew Batman just punching him already, but here I actually want to indicate like him getting pulled back and like really showing the anticipation, because this is the final punch that Batman lands before the guy falls to the ground. And so I really want to emphasize that moment in particular, because this is the most important punch. This is the punch that establishes Batman as the dominant guy. So I'm not just thinking it technically, I'm thinking of it like on a subjective level, like narratively. So here, just ready to unleash all of his anger and his power on this guy, on this poor guy. Alright, cool. So, and then also too, the background definitely moves a lot here, so I am going to duplicate that. So this is 20. Oh, I moved it down by accident. Actually, no, I shouldn't have moved it down. I should have moved it. Oh, I moved it too far down. So I'm just let's move it down. Here I can actually. Here I just need. I'm just looking at the reference. Alright, so here. That's the thing too, like you don't have to be just drawing all the time. Like you can take a good amount of time just looking at your reference and like really internalizing it and processing it. So here actually I'm just gonna go actually I'll probably just adjust. Here we go. He could probably pull himself opposite that. This will be the last thing I do before going to break. So that's too much. Oh. Just have to skew a little bit. Oh, and then let me move the background down a little more. Right. Let's see. Actually, what I'll do is I'll move it down a little bit. Let's see. There we go. Schwab. And I can actually just skew this drawing here. Go back a little bit. I knew this was the last thing. I said that was the last thing, but filter, blurred. Motion blurred. Oh, it looks weird. Oh, I got this. Looks weird. What? Maybe it's just this. I don't think I need this layer. Filter. Alright, let me take a little break and then I'll be back. Hey guys, I have gone ahead and finished up the remaining part of the sequence. It wasn't a lot. The bulk of the cleanup, or the rough phase, I did with you guys. I just want to show you guys how it looks. Boom, boom, Acha! And this part I did. And those guys are scared. So I'm vengeance. Yeah, that's it. And for the most part, like all this stuff is stuff that I showed you guys anyway. It's like incorporating, like skewing, and then incorporating blurs and stuff. But here, like I actually added like these extra poses because the skewing part can become a crutch if you just skew the drawings a lot. But here it's like he's positioning himself, and then doom, doom, and these guys move back. And for the most part, these are the same drawings. And then I noticed that it was raining, or at least like rain was falling on him, and so I decided to add that. And then that's it. So I'll see you guys in the cleanup phase of this. I'm really excited to show you guys how this will look all cleaned up. I will see you guys in the next video.